KT7 up here. Today, I will go over the basics of PvP team building. What do you need to make a competitive PvP team? How to make your team work as intended. And doing some damage tests and unit movements tests. I will break down team building in these sections. Units and their roles. Vision cards. Espers. Equipments including trust stones. AI controls such as buff order and how to avoid runarounds. I usually do review and showcase videos for upcoming units. Subscribe if you want to see how future units perform in auto PvP settings. I will put a link up to my Yuffie showcase in the corner here. Let's start off with units. Units can be put into a few categories. Tanks, DPS/bruisers, and support. Tanks are units that has innate hate or can generate it with a buff or an attack. You want them to run up to the front, ahead of your other two units. Hate works both ways. The AI will prioritize attacking unit with hate first before going after units without it. The same goes for your support units. They will look to buff your hate unit before your other party member. Where you place your tank also dictate your enemy's movements. If you position your tank on one side, your enemy will move toward that side of the map. These are some notable tanks we currently have. They are sorted by elements here. They usually have higher HP, defense, or spirit. However, they are slower and don't deal much damage. Their job is to draw enemies' attack to them, stay alive for as long as they can, and let your DPS units to their job. Dwayne has innate hate, but I don't really consider him a tank. Next, DPS and bruisers. Majority of the units in the game are in this category. I put some of them up here. Just couldn't fit all of them in one page. DPS are your main source of damage on the team. They have better speed, higher attack or magic stats, and good source of penetration. In the current meta, a good damage dealer ideally should have at least 40% innate defense penetration or 30 to 40% spirit penetration. Spirit penetration is still lower in the game. Units with high spirit is not as common as high defense. A straight up DPS are glass cannons. Units like Ruin Stern, Sakura, and long range units like Wind Lucia. They usually go down in 1 to 2 hits. They really need protection from tanks to maximize their damage output. Bruisers are units with high damage and good survivability. Units such as Sephiroth, Purine, and Wind Glaciella. A great bruiser can win you a lot of matches. Given a choice, I would run bruisers over straight up DPS 7 days a week. Let's continue. Support units. They are the ones that usually stay in the back line. Their job is to heal and buff your units. They usually have good speed and very rarely attack. When your support units attack, you either won by a landslide or they are the last surviving unit on your team. A good support unit such as Felis and Resnick can fit into all teams despite element differences. Units can have multiple roles. The game is moving towards role compression. Depending on what you want the unit to do, choose your sub-jobs and passive abilities accordingly. Now let's talk about vision cards. They are more valuable than units. All VCs in the game are good. There are bad units, but no bad VCs. What do I look for in a vision card? My number one is AoE resist and single target resist. Every attack is either an AoE or single target. Having good AoE and single target resistance is one of the most important factors to unit survivability. Speed is my 1A. In a broad sense, speed is king. Your units go faster and take more turns. On the screen here, I have listed all speed, AoE, and single target resist VCs. Second is accuracy. What good is huge damage if you miss? Accuracy will be super important in the coming months as Fire Evade team is complete with Yuffie. Third is elemental and attack type resistances. These are situational depending on what you are fighting. There are many units that have high slash penetration, but it is still good to have. I think only Dark can have 300% slash pen units on the same team. Sephiroth, Ruinstern, and Venera. Fourth are elemental attack up, attack type up, penetration up, and crit up slash crit damage up. These will make your units more powerful, but they are not as important as the previous ones. Fifth, general stats up. Attack, magic, HP, etc. These are good to have, but definitely not a must. Let's do a damage test. At the top, we have Sephiroth with no AoE and no single target resist. With an AoE attack, Wingstern hits him for 3034 damage. With a single target attack, he does 2084 damage. At the bottom, Sephiroth is equipped with 20 AoE and 20 single target resists. The same attacks are used against him. The AoE attack is now doing 2426 damage. And the single target attack does 1666 damage. He is taking roughly 20% less damage with these VCs equipped. This is why AoE and single target resist is my number one. Continuing to Espers. I have put them into these categories. For DPS, offensive Espers, with Man-Eater and high speed. High accuracy Espers to hunt down evasive units. Defensive Espers, offers defense or spirit up. They are usually at lower speed. High speed, at 19 and 20. And Espers with attack cast time reduced by 200 ticks. These are the Espers I use the most. Mix and match to adjust your turn order. Now let's go over equipments. Try to +5 all your equipments to get max stats and additional abilities. If it is available, make it a +6. Try to get into top 5k in arena each week to get more heart quartz. Speed adjustment is the main factor of what I equip on a unit. Getting the turn order right is the most important part of good team building. This is a sample team. Classic setup. A tank, a DPS, and a support. Things to keep in mind. Stats on equipments don't really stack. If two pieces of equipment offer defense, you will only get roughly 30% of the stat from the lowered stat one. Additional abilities on equipment do not really stack just like equipments. Additional abilities on Trust Stone and equipments do not stack at all. For tanks, I usually don't equip weapons, except for Dialdo. His weapon has 8 AoE resist from limited additional abilities. For armor, I look for AoE or single target resists, attack type resists, speed, then status ailments resist. In a weapon, I want elemental attack up, attack type up, accuracy, Man-Eater, and attack or magic up. For accessories, I need accuracy, speed for speed adjustment, and status ailments resistance. Finally, the Trustmaster slot. For me, it is mainly for speed and movement adjustments. Most modern units are 2 buff units. Chances of getting off the TMR buff is rare, unless you turn off another buff, other than a specific build, like Keen Blade. Or you want to equip a TMR with an AoE buff, so your unit will move together at the start of the match. I would not pay too much attention to it. Again, TMR is mainly for speed and movement adjustments. The only exceptions are bells or AP generating TMRs. If you have to run it, adjust your other unit's speed accordingly. Now Trust Stones. Everyone has a different take on it. There is no correct set of Trust Stones for any particular unit. The set bonus and additional abilities do stack. As long as you have the same type of stones on one side, the set bonus are the same. You don't need UR stones to get max set bonuses. For the left side, I typically prioritize HP and luck over everything else. Defense or Spirit are usually only on healers for the healing power-up. These are some abilities I look for. HP and Luck Up are must-have. Then Status Ailment Resist, followed by Elemental Resist, and then Attack Type Resist. You can throw in Crit Avoid if you have empty slots left. There isn't enough slots to cover everything. Depending on the meta, and choose which ones will give you the most advantage. For the right side, the sets I prioritize are Accuracy, then Speed, then lastly Attack or Magic. These are typically what I go for. Attack/Magic Up, a must-have. Elemental and Attack Type Up. Penetration Rate Up. Acquired AP Up. Reaction Block Up. Healing Power Up is a special case. I would put it on support units if they don't already have it on other equipments. And for some tanks like Engelbert and Snow, who can heal. Okay, now the last part of the video. AI movement tests. I will run 3 tests. Number 1, in the current arena map. This is the team. My goal is to get Sephiroth and Lucia go to the middle and AoE buff on their first turn. Then have the support unit cast Haste. On second turn, I want Sephiroth to use his barrier and AP regen buff, then move forward. In this setup, Sephiroth has the highest speed, followed by Lucia. Okay, failed. Since Sephiroth will run around in circles to make sure everyone gets the buff before moving forward. Many units will do this, so be careful. Let's make some speed adjustments. Adjusted Sephiroth's speed to be slower than Lucia. Let's see what happens. A success. Lucia AoE buff gives her a barrier, so she won't cast it a second time unless the barrier is gone. She is faster and way too far for Sephiroth to reach her, so he moved forward. Let's bring back the first team. Alright. Test number 2. The current guild battle map. In this map, I want to have Sephiroth to be the fastest, but still AoE buff first turn and move forward on the second turn. Is it possible? Nope, it didn't work. This time, instead of adjusting speed, let's change the position of the units. Hopefully this will work out. Got it. By putting the support unit in slot 1. Sephiroth moved towards her, because the AI is set up to buff the slot 1 unit always. Speed and unit placement are the keys to controlling your turn order. Now, let's go to the current class match map. I will use a cost 220 team with SR Leela here. I want my DPS units to start off with AoE buffs and Leela Keen Blade on their first turn. This is how I position my units. In Class Match, you can change your starting positions. Take advantage of this and start off your match the correct way. I want Sephiroth move in between the others and buff. Lucia move backwards buffs Leela, then Leela Keen Blade. Cool. This is exactly how I wanted it. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you find this video helpful. Have a good one.